Thank you, Julie. As we told you at the top of the hour, the thrill in the Ville, as it was called, certainly lived up to the hype. Joe Biden and Paul Ryan sparred over absolutely everything, and if it wasn't what each candidate said, it was how they behaved. This morning, some critics called Joe Biden's frequent interruptions obnoxious or rude. Some supporters thought he showed the spirit that was lacking from the ticket during last week's presidential debate. And as you can imagine this morning, both sides are claiming victory. Here now to make some sense of it all is Stephen Dennis, Roll Call's White House correspondent. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Great to be here.
So yesterday afternoon, we have exciting baseball. We have exciting baseball at night. And then we have this debate, which kind of goes right along with all the sporting events. Very exciting, entertaining, I guess you could say, as well. What were your overall thoughts?
I thought it was a very entertaining debate. I thought Joe Biden did what he really needed to do, which was to buck up the Democratic base, which was really dispirited after President Obama really failed to land a whole bunch of punches in last week's debate. A lot of people thought he was listless. The polls showed the Democrats slipping. A lot of swing states started to become in play or swing over to Romney. They needed a jolt of energy, and that's what Joe Biden gave last night. Now, some people say, can say he was too aggressive, but they absolutely could not have had another listless performance. They didn't get one. And Paul Ryan had he had a difficult job. He had to both make a case for himself as a new person on the national stage, and I think he came into this thinking, I can't mess things up. The Romney campaign had some momentum, and he didn't really commit any big gaffes.
Yeah, I guess you would say, if people are going to have some issues, it might be more about stylistic things. Was Joe Biden, did he interrupt too many times, that kind of thing. But neither candidate seemed to make big mistakes, although I do want to ask you about one thing in just a little bit. And would you say they both scored points at various times?
I think they both have things that their parties are going to be able to, take a clip and say, hey, we scored here, we scored there. But I do think that for Democrats, they were happy that Biden came out punching so hard on a lot of the things that the president failed to bring up last week. Things like the 47% video, things like the tax plan, really challenging Ryan on the specifics, and Ryan had a hard time. Couldn't really say how the plan is going to work.
I want to show some clips because there was a lot of interaction. First clip we're going to show is the two talking about the Romney-Ryan tax plan. Take a look.
You can cut tax rates by 20% and still preserve these important preferences for middle-class taxpayers.
Not mathematically possible.
It is mathematically possible. It's been done before. It's precisely what we're proposing.
It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times, actually.
It has never been
Jack
done
Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
Ronald Reagan.
Kind of harkens back to a previous debate many years ago. What did you think of that exchange?
I thought it was, it was a good exchange. It was a sharp exchange. I think Biden was, thought of that Jack Kennedy line and was probably thinking about it before he delivered it. But it was, it didn't really get to the meat of the question, though. The meat of the question is, how do you pay for it? Not that you say you're going to pay for it. And that's something that the Romney-Ryan ticket has had a hard time dealing with, and the Obama campaign has been zeroing in on. And Obama didn't really do a really good job of zeroing in on it last week. And I think that that's something that you're going to keep hearing the Democrats hammer. But there are also a lot of other moments in this debate where, there were some touching moments at the end where both sides had to talk about abortion, and they're both Catholic. It was sort of interesting to see Joe Biden talk about it as, somebody that believes that abortion is wrong in his own life and accepts his church, but he's not going to force others to conform to that view. And Paul Ryan really sticking to his guns on abortion and saying that, he doesn't think it's the right thing, and that's his view. So I think, the one thing I think it was a problem for Ryan is most of this debate, a lot of this debate was on foreign policy, and that's really more Biden's strong suit than Ryan's. But I think Ryan generally held his own. There were a few moments where he had a little bit of difficulty saying, how would you do things differently in Syria? What would really be different in Iran? What would really be different in Pakistan and Afghanistan? And it was more stylistic. There wasn't a whole lot of specifics there.
Speaking of foreign policy, and I want to let our control room know, I'm going to skip the middle bite, and I want to go to the Libya question, about the security in Libya. If we can do that, I want to show that exchange.
If we are hit by terrorists, we're going to call it for what it is, a terrorist attack. Our ambassador in Paris has a Marine detachment guarding him. Shouldn't we have a Marine detachment guarding our ambassador in Benghazi, a place where we knew that there was an al-Qaeda cell with arms?
Well, we weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again. And by the way, at the time, we were told exactly, we said exactly what the intelligence community told us that they knew.
Now, this is one place in the debate where there were some specifics from both sides, and the Vice President gave a pretty strong defense of, you know, saying what he said there. Is this something that, given what's going on Capitol Hill with the questions being raised about this, is this something that there could be some questions about and that could trip him up?
Absolutely. Look at the problem for Biden in that question is he's saying, well, we didn't know. But his administration knew. You know, the State Department was getting these requests for more security from Libya and didn't provide that security. They pulled teams out of the country. And the White House has acknowledged that, as of yesterday, that they didn't have enough security on the ground and they're investigating it. But it does raise questions now of, okay, well, why didn't the White House know that there were requests for more security? You know, the White House is in charge. You know, it's not like the State Department is its own little, you know, entity. There's supposed to be coordination. That's one of the things we learned after 9/11, that there wasn't enough coordination between agencies and the White House and everybody. And, you know, that seems to really be a problem here. And if they got bad intelligence for the week after this happened, and the intelligence community was saying they thought it was the YouTube video, and now we know it's not, that's a problem for the intelligence community. Right. So beyond just the politics of this debate, where I do think that answer could be troubling, you know, that's an issue for the country of going forward.
We'll see what comes out of that. Stephen Dennis is the White House correspondent for Roll Call. Thank you very much, sir, for your input this morning. We appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be back with